Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the 2021 NR 2003 season here, where we follow along with the 2021 Cup Series schedule like real life every single week of the race season, and we see how close our results here in this game get to real life at the end of the year. This weekend, we have the Pocono double header. You're seeing this episode here today on Saturday, and then the next one will be out tomorrow on Sunday. Very excited to get this weekend out of the way, to be honest with you guys. I am joined by my good friend of JayCook. And Jay, we've both been talking about this one for a while now. We've both been dreading this specific race weekend in real life, and for this, we do not enjoy this track and not sure exactly what to expect today. But yeah, over the last month, both of us have definitely been not looking forward to this moment.
Yeah, I certainly have not been wanting this weekend to show up, and I think that we'll probably be in for more of a better race on NR than we will in real life. I think these guys will still put on an okay race for us to commentate on and enjoy, but real life I feel like is going to be pain, and it's highly possible this race could be pain as well. So hopefully we'll see these guys put on a good race for us. But we are here at Pocono. We're at a track where we still go to twice a year. I think that's honestly twice too many. It definitely once too many. They only need to go to this track at very minimum one time, or maximum one time. So hopefully NASCAR adjusts that on the schedule. But we'll make the best of where we are. We got two races this weekend, so here we go for the doubleheader, I guess.
So 80 laps will be run today. Tomorrow we'll probably do 90 laps, I'm thinking. But 80 laps, that means stage 1 is going to be 20 laps. Stage 2 is going to be 20 laps. So they both end 21, 41, and we race it to lap 81 for the finish of this race here at the Tricky Triangle. Jay, of course, a lot of playoff stuff going on right now. I mean, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., they've been closing the gap a little bit here in the last few weeks, but the guy that's the last guy in right now, Matt DiBenedetto, starting pretty well today, so this could be a good opportunity for Matt to maybe actually re-stretch that points gap back out above that cut line.
This entire weekend is another really good chance for a lot of these guys to make up points or lose points. I guess if you wind up having bad performances, there's two races right here in the weekend, and all of them are going to count for maximum points. You can get 60 points for both races. So there's 120 points on the line in one weekend, and we don't really ever see that in NASCAR. So if you come here with the wrong setup and you can't get it fixed for both races, you could be in for a really bad weekend and put yourself in a really bad spot. 25 points for that cutoff there might sound like a lot, but it's really not. That can go away so quickly here. So a lot of these guys really need to hope that they've shown up with the right setup and have their car together in one piece for both races this weekend.
Getting ready to go green, Brad Keselowski leads the field to the green flag alongside Chase Elliott. The front row currently winless on the season, but both well inside of the playoffs. Alex Bowman starting there up in P6. Maybe keep an eye on him today. He needs a good stretch of races, but I think after this week, not only in NR, but I mean, of course, NR very unpredictable, but for sure in real life, Jay, after this weekend, 2 points races, we're really going to have an idea of what the playoff situation's officially going to look like, probably.
Yeah, I think this is probably a weekend a lot of teams, especially those around the cut line, have had circled on their calendar probably since the beginning of the year, knowing that this is going to be crucial coming into this weekend. You have to have your car ready going into the weekend, especially in real life when there's no practice for this stuff. So you have to hope that you get everything right coming into the weekend, and if you don't, you have to hope that you can make those right adjustments, because if you come in and miss it and then you can't fix it, you're going to be screwed for both of those races, and it could really, really, really hurt you. So this weekend is crucial. Even though they're not the most exciting races, it is going to be crucial for these teams to have good races and have good finishes these two races.
Quite a spread out pack we got going on here, though. They are going multi lanes wide here as we go down into turns one. Keselowski leads the opening lap. Chase Elliott up there in second place, trying to hold off both Alex Bowman and his Hendrick teammate, as well as Kyle Larson. Larson now has 3 wins on the season here in the NR Series, 4 wins in real life, as well as the All-Star race to be 5. So Larson looking pretty similar now at this point with the NR Series that we are doing. Right now, Keselowski still winless as he leads away. I just saw Bubba Wallace actually clip the outside wall back there as DiBenedetto looks to maybe make a move here. Larson actually lost a spot there to the number 12 of Ryan Blaney here now as they come through turns 3. But I mean, Jay, we're seeing quite a different product here from what I think we'll be seeing in tomorrow's race. I think we expect a lot more spread out racing now, and it's just probably going to be a very boring race in real life compared to what we're seeing right here.
Yeah, I have a feeling we're going to see two completely different races between NR and real life. I think these guys are going to put on an okay race here. They'll probably be 2 and 3 wide the entire time, be able to make moves and all that kind of stuff. In real life, not at all. We're going to see them be single file, get really spread out, and probably just not be entertaining at all. I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that I can be completely wrong here and they somehow put on a great race, but nothing has changed about the track, nothing has changed about the package, so I don't expect anything different from what we've had there before. It's going to be single file, spread out, and fuel runs are going to be the difference.
One thing that surprised us last week at Nashville Super Speedway for the first time this season in our NR 2003 season, we did not have a single accident. So could that be kind of setting us up for maybe a wild race here in Pocono? It looks wild so far, but nobody is crashing. I did see out of the tunnel turn, a couple cars got to the outside wall, including Kevin Harvick in the 17 of Chris Buescher. Very close quarters right there with Eric Almirola as well as Matt DiBenedetto in that number 21 Wood Brothers Ford Mustang. But they do keep it clean. Now, as we look at that playoff grid, of course, that's really been the talk lately here in our series. So Daniel Suarez comes into this race. First guy out, 25 points below the cut line. And then you got to go to Martin Truex Jr., who is 37 points below. But right now, Jay, everybody that needs to be beating that 21 DiBenedetto is on the outside, right, or behind him, I should say, on track. So right now, nobody doing what they need to be doing. And DiBenedetto coming into this weekend looking like he's here to make a statement, potentially.
Yeah, he's doing what he needs to do so far, and hopefully he's able to keep that car inside the top 10 all day long and not have some of the issues we've seen him have this season where he winds up getting involved in a wreck or just winds up flat out sucking. So far he's having a decent run, and hopefully for him he's able to keep it there. But I don't expect that we're going to see Truex or Kyle Busch or really even Suarez stay behind him that long or even really stay outside the top 10 for that long. Suarez is right there on the door knocking on the top 10. Truex is right behind him, and actually Kyle Busch is a little bit further back. But with the way all three of them have been running lately, especially Kyle Busch, I have to think we'll see at least a top 10 out of them today.
Busch has had a lot more speed recently. I mean, he's had a lot of speed all season, just a lot of horrendous luck that has really taken him out of some good finishes, and now he's trying to make that big comeback. Now 47 points below the cut line. I remember maybe 3-4 weeks ago he was about 79 points below the cut line, so he's making a charge, but does he have enough time left here now as well? Alex Bowman currently running up in P3, having a really good race. He comes into this race 93 points below the cut line. Jay, I mean, at this point in the season, can you consider 93 points too much to make up at this point? Or maybe if Bowman goes on a stretch like he is right now, as he actually just took second place, I mean, if he puts a string of top 10, some top 5s together, do you think he could still find a way to point his way in?
I think this weekend is where we'll find out if he can still point his way in or not. If he's able to have 2 good races this weekend, then he might be able to claw his way back up to where he's saved 60 so points or 60 or so points out. And if he's able to do that, he's still got a chance. But if he doesn't gain any ground at all, I think after this weekend, if he stays right where he's at, that's it. That he has no more chance of getting in on points. He's going to have to hope to get a win. But I mean, certainly at the moment with him running second place, he could put all that out the window and just go on and win this race and go ahead and lock himself in anyways. So, you know, that's kind of what it looks like he's wanting to do at the moment, and I think that's the better strategy. Stop worrying about points at this point and just go for a win. 93 points out, even though it's still mathematically possible, I think that's almost not possible. That's a steep hill to climb.
Currently seeing Kyle Busch kind of struggle pretty hard right now, down in 22nd place. Tyler Reddick in 21st. Reddick, we've been watching. He's actually been losing points consistently above that cut line over the last few weeks, and running P21 is not going to do him any favors at all now. 38 points above the cut line still, but that gap has been getting smaller and smaller to the cut line week after week, and he's got guys like Truex as well as Daniel Suarez right now running much better than him. Here's backup At the front of the field, though, you're seeing Alex Bowman, Kyle Larson going at it for second place. I mean, Kyle Larson, not only in real life has he been on a tear, but here in NR 2003, as of late, he has been on a tear as well. He's actually won the last 2 points races in our NR 2003 series from Sonoma. Then we went to Nashville, and he won that as well. Is actually in the background. Before we touch on that, there's an incident. I see Austin Cindric has some damage. It looks like the 16 is blown up, but the 33, I think, got some help there around he went, and the caution's actually going to come out for the first time here today on lap 8. So, did not see that coming here. I mean, Jay, what do we got? We got 20 laps in this first and opening stage here. Do you think it's smart to split it down the middle, or do you think they can probably just make it to the end no problem?
I mean, at this point, since there's a caution and they're already right towards the middle, you might as well pit and take 4. I don't see why not at this point. I think if you stay out here, you're going to wind up putting yourself in a sitting duck situation where everybody else behind is going to pit. So I think you have to pit at this point. I don't see why not.
We'll have to wait and see what they do. They still have a whole lap to get around, so real quick, we're going to get a look at what just happened to the number 33 of Austin Cindric, bringing out caution number 1 on the day. Reason for the caution, the 16 of Kazgarala blows up. Cindric kind of just gets tagged from JJ Yaley as he's braking for the 47, and, well, around he goes into the outside, while Timmy Hill barely misses that, and the caution flies here in this first and opening stage. Back to the live scene, though, now getting ready to go back green. Nobody did come into the pit lane there, so we are going to be going green with 8 laps to go in this first and opening stage here now, as we got Brad Keselowski continuing to lead the way. Jay, right now, or at least the one Penske driver of Keselowski looking really strong, but he does have his teammate Ryan Blaney, but so far it looks like it's shaping up to be Hendrick versus kind of Penske performance now, as we also got DiBenedetto up in the mix, and then of course we've got Bowman, Larson, and Elliott as well, so that's kind of what it looks like it's shaping up to be here today.
The Hendrick portion of it certainly does not surprise me at all. They've been strong all season long in NR, and certainly they are extremely strong right now in real life as well. So having Hendrick run strong and look really good so far to start this race is not surprising to me at all. It's also not surprising to see Ryan Blaney have good performance as well. We've seen him be very good this season. Keselowski's kind of struggled at the beginning, and now he's getting himself back into the playoffs, and I think this is one of the few races he's led this season. So right now at the moment, the top 2 are looking to lock themselves into the playoffs.
Would be a big day for both of those guys now for sure, especially for Alex Bowman, who comes in way below that cutoff line there. As you see Chase Elliott, a little bit of pressure from Matt DiBenedetto. Elliott over 100 points to the good, 116 to be exact, so he is in great shape here now as Ryan Blaney moves up into P3. He's charging his way forwards here as Alex Bowman puts a lot of pressure on the back of the 2 of Brad Keselowski. And another driver that's over 100 points above the cut line is that number 17 of Chris Buescher. Right now, having a not so good run. He's actually all the way towards the back. He was running pretty well earlier here as Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney trying to force it 3 wide for second place on that 48 of Alex Bowman here now as they come through out of turns 1. This is exactly what you like to see if you're Brad Keselowski here now. As Jay, I mean, these guys here, I mean, what do you do if you're Alex Bowman? You see they're trying to take you 3 wide. Both of those guys already have a win. You still have to try and win your way into the playoffs potentially. I mean, do you back out in that situation, keep it clean, or do you just stay in it knowing that you can still fight for a win?
I think you got to try and stay in it. I mean, at this point, you have to start worrying about your points because 93 back, it's just it's still possible, but it's such a massive hill to climb. You got to start worrying about it and put yourself in position to go for wins. And what gets you wins is track position. So I think you have to go for it. And if they're going to put you 3 wide, you have to put your foot on the gas and get out of that 3 wide situation and get back ahead of them. There's no point in trying to save yourself and just worry about points. You got to go for it at this point.
Keselowski, though, overall looking very strong here so far from Pocono's Blaney, now trying to make a move up the inside of Alex Bowman. Hamlin's going to come together. The 37. Oh, a big hit there. The 20 goes around. That's going to be that's a big crash. A terrible crash. That came back up in traffic. Oh, my goodness. The 37. He just went into the infield. I believe it is a monsoon of race cars down the back straightaway. Martin Truex Jr., who was closing the gap on the points, ain't going to be closing anything today. And we all of a sudden have a couple of cars out here at the Tricky Triangle as the caution comes out as they come through to 5 laps to go in the stage. And I don't think, Jay, any of us saw that one coming.
No, I didn't see that one coming at all. I certainly expected him to still wreck. I didn't see them coming. I didn't see a wreck like that coming, especially where we had a car fly up in the air and send right towards the infield.
Oh
That
no.
was a lot larger than I was expecting. That I mean, nearly everybody from like 15th on back got collected in that, and they all got heavy damage.
One. Oh, it got worse. It's getting worse. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, we got a pile up on the back straightaway. William Byron involved. He's already got a win. It's okay. Um, wow. It's probably easier to list the cars that do not have damage here in Pocono. Brad Kozlowski on back all the way through there. Kyle Busch just got gifted a lot of points, by the way. He was able to keep it clean. Of course, we're going to get multiple looks at this one. Don't you guys worry here in just a few moments. But Austin Dillon, I mean, look at the big names here, Jay. Tyler Reddick, 38 points above the cut line. We were just talking about him. Now he is probably going to be way off the pace. You can pretty much write him off for the day. Now, the one advantage he has, I think about 25 other cars are going to be just as slow as him, so he might still be able to get like a top 20 out of this thing.
Yeah,
17's out.
we're gonna have quite a few cars with damage still racing around here. They're gonna be off the pace, so it's gonna be a race for who can be the fastest of the slowest. And there's still points available. You're just not gonna get a top 10, but you can certainly put yourself inside the top 20 at this point with how many cars that we just had wreck. There was way over half the field involved in that. I mean, it looks like there's only 12, 13, 14 cars that are left out here without damage at the moment.
Kevin Harvick, let's just go quickly before we look at it who's already out of the race. Kevin Harvick's out. Eric Jones, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Christopher Bell, Martin Truex Jr., Ryan Newman, Corey LaJoy, and the 51. And I'm sure many more to come here. We can add the 53 to the. Oh, William Byron has just been added to that list as well. They are just dropping like flies here from Pocono now. What a wild start to this race. It was all calm and clean, and we're going to get a look now at what happened there, cleaning out, I think, well over half the field here at the Tricky Triangle. Here's a look of first of many looks at this crash here. Ryan Preece just gets into the left rear quarter panel of Denny Hamlin. He goes down into Christopher Bell, who has really nowhere to go, turns him, and then it goes all downhill. Bell goes back up in traffic, and then you can really see what happens there. And watch the 37. That was just a massive incident there. The 78 goes up and over. Every single car from Truex on back is crashing. McDowell finds a way to go up and over as well. Just an overall massive incident here from Pocono Raceway. Jay, we're going to get another look at it here from an alternate angle. I mean, there's not really much to describe from it, but what's just going on here?
Everybody just full sending it, not slowing down, I guess. And then, I mean, as you can see by the 37,
He's just up in the air, and everybody's involved here in Pocono Raceway. I don't know what kind of finish we're in store for, but yeah. Let's get an onboard camera look with the 37. On board with the 17 of Chris Buescher. You can see the crash is already well underway here, and he just comes piling in, and you'll see the 37 just going through the sky. Buescher does get through the worst part of it and manages to somehow still collect himself, and then get hit once again by Martin Truex Jr., and that will be the end of his race, as it's just a big pile up there in front of him. So after seeing all that calamity, we're getting ready to go green this time by, and it's actually going to be a one-lap dash for the stage win. There's not much of a battle going on, I don't think, anymore for the top 10 positions. But so 22nd place on down is out of this race. Kyle Busch is the last car running in 21st. And I don't know why he's in the back. We did see him pull over under caution, so something was going on there. But Tyler Reddick, some notables that are out of this race is Tyler Reddick, the 19 of Martin Truex Jr., who's trying to fight his way back into the playoffs. So a couple big names there, Jay. So, I mean, Reddick still will be credited with 24th, Jay. So it's not the end of the world for him. But as we get ready to go back green here for the one-lap dash, it's still, no matter what, going to be a big loss for Tyler Reddick here in this first race of this weekend.
yeah, I think he would be in much more danger if he had DNF'd farther down the list. Excuse me. And if Truex had not DNF'd as well, if Truex was still in this race, that would be a really sketchy moment there for Tyler Reddick. He'd be in danger of falling out of the playoffs. But I think with Truex DNFing, he'll still be inside the playoffs and certainly only finishing 24th. I'm sure he'll be fine as well as Timmy Hill looks like he's blown up on the restart. So that would have brought out the caution anyways. But yeah, I think that the other one that's also crucial that DNF'd is Chris Buescher. He had been losing a bit of his points advantage for the last several weeks, and now this is going to really hurt him as well. So in a weekend where points are very crucial, we've already got some guys who really needed to score points out of this race.
I saw the 34 all the way by the inside wall back there. I'm not sure what was going on with Alfredo, but with only 20 cars left, I don't see how we're going to end up crashing any now. As they go down this front straightaway, Larson's going to get Bowman at the line, but Keselowski wins stage 1 here from Pocono Raceway at the Tricky Triangle, and the top 10 is going to be rounded out by that 23 of Bubba Wallace. Matt DiBenedetto, the last guy in the playoffs right now. I don't think he's going to be the last guy in after this race, but he is going to get P6, which means 5 points here. But before we get ready for some potential pit stops, we're going to make sure we do not have a stacking up incident like we saw as well under that last caution. But we did see Timmy Hill blow up there on that restart. Very unfortunate for him. I think we saw it coming with the amount of damage that car had collected. But a chaotic first stage. It was all nice and calm. And little did we know, the whole half the field was going to get wiped out in just a matter of seconds at the Tricky Triangle here now. Is Keselowski, though, looking strong today. He has led every lap. No stack-up crashes, thank goodness. A bit of a stack-up right there. But, Jay, it looks like I think we're about to have some mixed strategy here. It's only going to be, wow, DiBenedetto is going to be the first one in. The 10 car is going to follow Daniel Suarez, Cole Custer. I mean, can they make it another 20 laps, do you think, here to the end of the stage?
Yeah, certainly. If they made it 20 to get this far, I think they can certainly make it another 20 to get to the end of stage 2.
Well, I meant the guy staying out.
Oh, sorry, my apologies. The one staying out, no, I don't think they can make it all the way to lap 40 without pitting, even with the cautions that we've had so far. I don't think they'll be able to make it, so I'm not too sure why they're staying out here. But who knows? Maybe they're looking to that final stage, which is going to be double the amount we've ran so far in this race. So maybe they're going to try and split up the second stage and then maybe take a pit stop away in the third stage by staying out at the end of stage 2.
We'll have to wait and see what happens there. DiBenedetto wins the race off of the pit lane. Not a lot of pit takers there, but we are going to go for a quick break here from the Tricky Triangle at Pocono and get ready to go green for the start of the second stage. Welcome back from Pocono Raceway, getting ready to go green for the start of stage 2. Jay, under the break, we mentioned as well, Alex Bowman. This is a big opportunity. We already seen him running well, which is an opportunity. But now, I mean, the competition that he's trying to beat has had quite a few issues, other than, of course, guys like Matt DiBenedetto. But still, no matter what, at this point, he's going to get more points than a lot of his competition. So this is going to be a big day for him, and maybe he can seal the deal and win here today in Pocono.
Yeah, it certainly seems like Tyler Reddick is going to be the last guy in the playoffs after this race. Who knows? Kyle Busch could also make up a bunch of points and wind up being the last guy in as well. But if Bowman is able to stay where he's at and have a good stage 2 here and then also finish in third place or even maybe a little bit higher than that in second, then he'll be looking really good on points, I think. So when I was saying earlier about throw the points conversation out of the way, just go after a win. Now with all these guys DNFing, I think you have to be looking at points. So this is a really big chance here for Bowman, and if he's able to gain a lot of points here, then I think he can go into tomorrow with the whole new ball game.
Kyle Larson trying to make a move for the lead right there. He hasn't been himself today. It was only second there in stage 1. Alfredo all the way up in the outside wall in the background there as they go down into turns 3. Not sure what kind of race we're in store for, to be honest with you guys, for the rest of this thing here. Daniel Suarez trying to make up some ground. What a change of events, Jay, it would have been if, say, a guy like Matt DiBenedetto as well would have been involved in that incident.
Yeah, we really would have had some people gaining points here. I think Kyle Busch probably would be guaranteed to be inside of the playoffs right now if DiBenedetto were out. And then an even more big moment for Alex Bowman. He'd be able to really gain himself towards the cutoff line. But I still think it's something that all these guys have to take advantage of. Kyle Busch is in this race still. He doesn't have damage to his car. He's running in a decent position right now, so he's got to be thinking about that as well. And we can have a really close points race once we leave Pocono, or at least once we leave this race and head into tomorrow's race.
And just looking at coming into this race, the comparison between Matt DiBenedetto and Tyler Reddick specifically, Reddick was 13 points above DiBenedetto coming into this race. DiBenedetto has already gotten 5 points, so that cuts it down to what, 8, 9, 10, 11, 8 points.
8.
So you look at where Reddick is now. I mean, 24th is what he's going to get credited with, and you put Matt DiBenedetto currently in P13. So that's 11 more points right there. So DiBenedetto is going to, at this point, jump ahead of Tyler Reddick and put Reddick down to that last car in. And you see Daniel Suarez right now is running there in P14. That's 10 more points against Reddick right there, and maybe he'll be able to pick up some stage points. So Reddick's going to be in a tough position. We were already talking about his decline that he's been kind of going through with losing points over that cut line. Obviously, today is just going to accelerate it, make it much worse, and he's going to be, Jay, for sure, tomorrow in need of a very strong performance to make sure he still remains in the playoffs after this Pocono doubleheader weekend.
Something that you or I have not considered yet is the fact that look at who's running 1 and 2 right now, Kozlowski and Bowman. If they wind up winning this race, that moves that cutoff line up 1 position. So then DiBenedetto winds up being the cutoff guy again, and now Tyler Reddick is out of the playoffs. So this could wind up being a really, really massive, heartbreaking race for Tyler Reddick if somebody who doesn't already have a win winds up winning this race.
Gonna be interesting to see what happens here. And right now, Kozlowski and Bowman both have been looking very strong this whole race. So I would not be surprised if either one of those guys picks up the victory. I mean, Hendrick Motorsports as a whole looking really good. William Byron was off the pace earlier, and then, of course, he got taken out in that big incident now. But yeah, you can see that 48 and the 2 car are definitely the 2 strongest cars here today so far. Kyle Larson, of course, always strong, running in the top 5. Ryan Blaney having a solid run. Denny Hamlin, who was nearly taken out in that big incident, still running here in 6th place. Jay, I mean, when we come to Pocono, we always think Denny Hamlin's got to be a threat. But lately here in the grid mode, I mean, earlier, I would say about a month and a half ago, he was the best guy in our NR2003 series, but now as of late he's been kind of going through a bit of a downfall, almost similar to what he's done in real life.
Yeah, he was certainly looking like the strongest guy and then the championship favorite early in the season, and it was only a matter of time until he was going to get a win. And then recently, he's been falling off, and kind of the same for NR. He's obviously already got a win, and he's still looking, I think, stronger in NR than he is in real life. But he's having a bit of the same performance, where he's just not looking like he was to start the season. And I don't know if that's a team thing. I don't know if it's Joe Gibbs struggling right now, or if it's a Denny Hamlin thing where he's kind of struggling. Certainly, I think at this point, with how good Hendrick is, you're going to have to be looking at finishing, 3rd or 4th place, and that's really, you're going to have to take that as a win. Because at the moment, it seems like we're going to have 2 or 3 Hendrick cars in the top 3 all or every single race for the rest of the season. So I think it could just be a performance thing as well, that they're just behind the 8 ball compared to Hendrick right now. So I don't think we're going to see Denny struggle for the rest of the season like this, but at the moment, he's not looking like the same Denny Hamlin he was to start the year.
And speaking of Hendrick Motorsports, by the way, just this week it was announced that Jeff Gordon, 4-time Cup Series champion, will, starting in 2021, be the vice chairman, second in line to Rick Hendrick at Hendrick Motorsports. I mean, Jay, we all kind of saw this coming at some point. I mean, it had already been kind of mentioned by Rick Hendrick a few years ago even. So we knew something like this was on the horizon. I think it maybe came a little bit earlier than I anticipated. And we had, of course, heard a rumor a couple weeks back that Jeff Gordon was considering leaving the booth next year to become more of a more larger role at HMS. And then, of course, this week the news came out. And I mean, you think that's got to be a huge step, even more so in the future. We're seeing what Hendrick's able to do right now, and with Jeff Gordon taking on more of a leadership role as well. I can only imagine what a powerhouse team this could be here, if it not already, of course, isn't a powerhouse team.
Yeah, and he was listed as specifically in charge of competition as well. So it's going to be him and Chad Knaus leading the competition group of Hendrick. And I think that combination there is just going to be a huge duo. Combined with the 4 drivers they have, all 4 of them are very good drivers. And when you have a genius, honestly, with Chad Knaus, and then one of the sport's greatest drivers, Jeff Gordon, leading the competition of that team, I mean, honestly, I don't see how this competitiveness they have now goes away next year either, even with a new car. So I think you immediately have to look at Hendrick already as a favorite just because of who they got leading that team. But certainly, all that stuff has transferred on track, and we've yet to even see them in the new cars. So you can't really call them championship favorite yet. But I have to think that certainly they're going to be strong going into next season.
Currently, Chase Elliott's starting to drop down the order. He'd been running top 5 majority of the race, now actually towards the back part of the top 10. Kyle Busch making up some ground here as well as he continues to move forward and pick up some stage points. To Benedetto right now, not looking so great. Currently the last car in the pack, just behind the 99 of Daniel Suarez. Now, other news, of course, GMS Racing announced that they are going to be Cup racing full-time next season with the next-gen car. I don't think we've talked about that yet because that what came out just this past week after we had done NR already. So another big thing, I mean, we're seeing so many new teams come into the sport, and I mean, it just creates nothing but excitement for us as fans getting to see this new interest, of course, forming in the NASCAR Cup Series now. And I mean, it just kind of foreshadowing for hopefully some great things, especially with this next-gen car.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to a lot of the new teams that are rumored and a lot of expansions that are rumored happening. I think it'll be great for the Cup Series to have a whole bunch of teams wanting to get into the sport and actually be competitive and not just show up to make money, one specific team. So I'm really looking forward to having some new teams in the Cup Series, and especially some teams that want to compete as well. I think we're going to have Colleague running 2 cars next year. We're going to have GMS running, I think, 2 cars, you said it was. Potentially some expansions with other teams as well. So I'm really looking forward to next year for a lot of reasons, but the new teams certainly have me most excited.
And by the way, fun fact, all of the Rick Ware Racing cars DNF'd in that incident earlier in this race, by the way. So all 4 of them got cleaned out in about 5 seconds there as they go down into turns 1. Kyle Busch definitely making up some ground. Denny Hamlin, though, I'm noticing has been able to make that lane that he's currently running right there kind of work for him. And all of a sudden, he's starting to move a little bit forwards here as we go down this first back straightaway. Ryan Blaney trying to make a move up the inside. Only 7 laps to go here in stage 2, so not a lot of time remaining now as time runs out pretty quick, and then it'll be a 40 lap dash to the end of this race. And then of course, Jay, we don't know if these guys that stayed out under that last caution can really make it or not. I know I think a pit cycle or fuel tank here, you can get around, I think, maybe 35 or so laps. So honestly, the caution laps might have been enough to maybe get these guys to the finish. But if not, I mean, Matt DiBenedetto is in a perfect position, and same for Daniel Suarez and Cole Custer. They'll be able to get top 3 easily.
I honestly had expected to Benedetto to make up more positions than he has, just based on the fresh tires. It seems like so far, though, he's been kind of struggling to pass. But if these guys cannot make it, that does put him in prime position. Although I think he might be behind a couple others who pitted with him. I don't think he's the first car that pitted at the moment.
Suarez is behind him. He pitted with him. I think the 42 pitted as well as Almirola led the guys onto the pit lane, and then the 41 came in as well. So the 41 is the first car on fresh tires and more fuel now as he's under attack from Kyle Busch there in that number 18 car. But Larson now dropping down a little bit as well. He's been passed by Kurt Busch, Denny Hamlin. So Hamlin's starting to work his way forwards into the top 3 here in the final 5 laps of this second stage now. And earlier, I mean, we had a view of 40 cars going different lanes all over the place. Now it's just a pack of like 16 different cars, if that, here, going maybe 2 or 3 wide at the most right now as they go through turns 1 and 2. What a difference just a couple of seconds can make now, as you see. Kozlowski, though, just seems to be unbeatable. I mean, Jay, the field can stick with him, but I mean, what do they got to do to find a way to get past him? Honestly, that it might have to come onto the pit lane here.
I think either that or it's going to have to be a tandem. We're going to have to see 2 guys get together and just push themselves down the front straightaway to get past him. It certainly seems like at this point the clean air is a huge advantage, but these guys all staying in the pack together, I mean, certainly that shows that the draft is big at this track as well. So if you're able to get hooked up with somebody, maybe you can push around Kozlowski.
And of course, Kozlowski literally just today, I think it was Adam Stern tweeted that Roush Fenway has informed their partners that Brad Kozlowski is going to that team as a co-owner and driver is a done deal pretty much. So obviously, Jay, that's not really any news to us. We kind of knew that was already a thing, but that, I think, made it even more official than it already was, and it's just a matter of time until they announce it. But I believe that what we've been hearing is they can't actually really announce anything until September, I think it is. So it's going to be a little bit till that it gets announced, but still, nonetheless, I mean, do you think with Brad Keselowski in that 6 car, of course, or we don't know if it's a 6 car yet, but in a Roush car as a co-owner, it's going to be a next-gen car. Do you think we can see him leading races like he is now in that car in the first year of that program?
I don't think we'll see it in the first year. I think maybe with a little bit of development, that team could be strong within 2 or 3 years. I don't know if we're going to see Keselowski run like he is now, where he's able to lead races and win races and make the playoffs and be competitive in the playoffs. I just think that team is too far behind everybody else at this point, even with the new car. I think that the staff they have and the kind of research and knowledge they have at the moment is just kind of behind a team like Kendrick or even Penske. So I don't think they're going to struggle. Like I don't think they're going to be terrible. But I think it'll take a couple years before Keselowski will really be able to turn that team around.
3 wide into the tunnel turn here with Ross Chastain, Eric Almirola, as well as Cole Custer there, as they all keep it clean right now. But in the back of this pack, you still got DiBenedetto and Daniel Suarez going at it there for 14th and 15th. Suarez with an opportunity to be gaining some points here in the stage is not going to be able to gain anything. But of course, no matter what happens in that final stage, he will gain some form of points, especially on Tyler Reddick. Only 2 laps to go here in this second stage from the tricky triangle now, as Kurt Busch, Kyle Larson, almost looks like they're kind of working together. They're former teammates, of course, from a couple of years ago, but Bowman gets defensive there on the second lane and seems to be able to hold it pretty much every single time here now. As I mean, Jay, every single point for Alex Bowman, of course, is going to be crucial at this point in the season. So what do you do here? Maybe go for a bump and run on Keselowski, or to just try to hang on for second and keep it safe and make sure you have a good car for that final stage?
Normally, I'd say be aggressive and try and go for it, but I think if you're Bowman now, you really want to make sure that you get every point possible, and you don't want to wind up throwing some away by being too aggressive and potentially putting yourself in a position where you can get past or potentially wrecking yourself. So I maybe think just try and defend and keep second place and be happy with it and move on to the third stage and see what you can do from there.
And out of turns 3 down the front straightaway, Keselowski starts the final lap. I'll get in the command in just a second to bring out the caution. But Kyle Larson, Kurt Busch, Bowman, they're going to be 3 wide, it looks like, down into turns 1 potentially. Nope, just 2 wide there. But Bowman is at risk now of losing second place. But can he make that second line work? It looks like he can. But it's going to be all down to, can he clear that one car down the straightaway before the tunnel turn, as we get in the command for the caution right there on this final lap of stage 2. Points so important for a guy like Alex Bowman. Kyle Busch, who's up there in the mix as well. Keselowski, who still hasn't won a race, is not guaranteed in the playoffs, but he's 50-something points above the cut line. But now as they go down into turns 3, Hamlin maybe having a look at the 48, but it's not going to be enough right there. So sure enough, out of turns 3, Brad Keselowski is going to be able to hang on as he comes through down this front straightaway to win stage 2. Hamlin takes a look up the inside at the line, but it's not going to be enough. Bowman gets second place, and then Kyle Busch, they were all over the place there at the line, sporadic, but Kyle Busch ends up getting P8, so he only gains 3 points right there. Matt DiBenedetto got no points, and same for Daniel Suarez now, so a bit of a loss for those 2 drivers, but Jay, obviously a lot calmer of a stage 2, and I think we can probably come up with a few reasons why that was the case.
Yeah, a few meaning 20 or half the field. And I think we're going to have the same thing here for stage 3 as well. It'll be kind of a calm race to the end. We'll see them make 2 or 3 moves every now and then, but, we're not going to have this giant sprawling pack like we had at the beginning of this race across the front straightaway.
So, of course, the field should be coming into the pit lane this time by. We'll keep here for that, and then we will go to a quick break from Pocono. But, I mean, so far, Jay, I think Keselowski, do you think he can be beaten here today? I mean, like I said, I think if he's going to get beaten, it's going to have to happen right here on this pit stop.
It certainly seems like so far he's got the car to beat. So I think if he comes off pit road here as the leader, we're going to have to look for somebody to kind of gang up on him a little bit and pass him with the draft. Otherwise, I think Keselowski's, I mean, honestly, with the position he's in at the moment and the way his car looks, I think he's probably got this race won. As long as he doesn't lose on pit road.
Keselowski has this 21st fastest lap here in the field at Pocono, and Martin Truex Jr. has the fastest lap. Set that pretty early, obviously, because he was out before the first stage even came to a close. But sure enough, everybody here, I'm sure, is going to be coming into the pit lane. It does look like that is the case. Yes, sure enough, the 3 car does like to stay out. I believe he was a lap down. Yes, he is. So he'll be coming in next time by. So we're going to see who maybe is able to leapfrog that 2 car, especially that 48. If Bowman can come out of here P1, I think he will have a legitimate chance to win this race now. So it all comes down to this potentially, and of course there still might be a pit stop on the way in this third and final stage. So obvious call, 4 tires, 2 cans of fuel. Jay, this is actually the first opportunity a lot of these guys get to make adjustments to their cars, because we only saw a few guys pit at the end of stage 1. So that could also bring an opportunity to maybe see some lead changes here in that final stage.
Yeah, I think that if these guys need adjustments, it's going to have to come right now. I mean, obviously, if they need adjustments, they need to get them. But if they need, they have one shot, really, honestly, to get the adjustments right. Since they were able to make it 40 laps there, I don't think they're going to be pitting for the rest of this race. So you got one opportunity to get those adjustments in, and you better hope you make them right.
Alex Bowman lost a spot there to Denny Hamlin, who gets P2, so he'll be down in P3 now, as we're going to go to a very quick break and get ready to go green for the start of the third and final stage here from Pocono Raceway. Welcome back from Pocono Raceway, getting ready to go green for the third and final stage. It will be 36 laps remaining when we take the green flag here. One thing to keep note of, Austin Dillon will be starting in front of Brad Keselowski here, not on the inside. He's going to be directly in front of him. So this could create an opportunity for a guy like Denny Hamlin, Alex Bowman to maybe attack that 2 car. This might be their only chance all race to get in front of that 2. So Jay, this is going to be a huge restart right here. The most probably important restart of the day.
Yeah, I think this is certainly going to be an extremely important restart, especially with that car of Austin Dillon there starting in front of these guys. Whoever gets past him first is going to be able to resume, or to be able to take this lead. And honestly, with the way that they haven't been able to pass so far today, I don't know if they get past again. So if Hamlin's able to get past him here, we may see Hamlin win this race.
And there you see the 3 is in the way, but he doesn't look horrendously slow, so Keselowski's still able to stay ahead as they go down towards the tunnel turn, and maybe even clear as Hamlin. No, he's going to get up the left-hand side. Bowman might get aggressive there. He kind of poked his nose there. Didn't make anything happen, but Keselowski, oh, the 3 hit the wall right in front of the 2. I see the 14 having some trouble in the background. He keeps it going in the right direction, but we have a lot of cars here together. Hamlin's going to force a 3 wide on Brad Keselowski. Not the position these guys probably want to be in right now, but out of turns 3 still, after all of that right there, Keselowski, of course, finds a way to stay out in front. Kyle Larson nearly threw a big block on the 41 of Cole Custer, who goes all the way down to the paint, but look at this 3x3 here as it go down into turns 1. Kyle Busch right in the middle of that now, as, I mean, it's not looking very good there. You don't want to be 4 wide out of turns 1, but thank goodness they keep it going in the right direction, and all of a sudden, we got Kyle Busch up in P3. Jay, I mean, Kyle is in a great position to make up a lot of points here and be right below that cut line here potentially after this first race.
This is a great opportunity for Kyle Busch, and I think that if this stays how it is, he's going to be right outside the playoffs, if not point or 2 inside of it. So at the moment, he has got to take advantage of this and maybe even try and sneak his way up to Keselowski and pass him. But at the moment, I don't know if anybody can pass Brad Keselowski.
Yeah, Keselowski is checked out right now. Kyle Busch trying to run down his teammate Denny Hamlin here, as, I mean, these guys are going all over the place here on this front straightaway, but Hamlin looking in command of at least second place for now. Blaney's actually going to get third back from Kyle Busch, as now they're going to go 4 wide potentially again. Nope, they keep it 3. Now is Austin Dillon still actually maintaining a decent pace here as they go down this first back straightaway. And once again, you're seeing Daniel Suarez kind of struggle a little bit there as Benedetto. He looks a little bit better so far here in this third and final stage. Maybe got the right adjustments they needed, but Kyle Busch as well now gets passed by that 48 of Alex Bowman there in that Ally Financial Chevrolet. So Kyle Busch starting to go backwards, as Hamlin as well is starting to close the gap, though, a little bit on Brad Keselowski. So it honestly looks like it might be a 2-car runaway here for the win today in Pocono. Now, as it doesn't look like there's going to be any fuel strategy involved, so it's just going to be a straight-up race there. And actually, Jay, Hamlin closed half a second right there on Brad Keselowski. So do you think maybe at this point, was that the draft, or is just the 11 just downright faster than the 2?
I think it might be the draft more so than anything, because earlier when they were 3 wide in turn 3, Denny Hamlin had a chance to pass Keselowski, and Keselowski just ran around him on the outside and completely pulled away from him. So I think at the moment Keselowski is still faster than Denny Hamlin, but the draft is obviously a big advantage here, or a big help.
And then right there, he made a move and it didn't quite work, and then he lost some ground because of it. So he's going to have to try and close that gap back down onto that number 2 of Brad Keselowski. Still, all the Penske cars inside the top 10. I think just about every team lost one or two of their drivers in that big crash earlier, but Penske somehow kept everybody out of it, and they are still going here. I mean, Austin Cindric was involved, but not a full-time Penske car, of course, here. As you see Kyle Busch fighting it out now with Cole Custer. Hamlin gets there into turns one once again. Not going to be close enough there now as they come through out of turns 1. So Denny Hamlin, of course, his driver Bubba Wallace running just outside of the top 10 at the moment. 2311 Racing. Jay, as we know, have been rumored to be potentially looking to expand already going into next season, and they've been rumored to be talking to Kurt Busch as a potential candidate. And I mean, if that doesn't work out, they do though still continue to expand. Who do you potentially see going in a second 2311 racing car? I think the first name probably comes to my mind would be maybe a guy like Harrison Burton from the Xfinity series.
Yeah, maybe Harrison if Joe Gibbs wants to fork some money into that team to be their development team. Also, potentially DiBenedetto if he's able to find a little bit of sponsorship. We know the kind of friendship that him and Hamlin have. So I think it's really, if it's not Kurt Busch, I think it's going to wind up being either Harrison or Matt DiBenedetto.
And then, of course, Trackhouse Racing looking to potentially expand, and they were also talking to Kurt Busch. Pretty much everybody is talking to Kurt Busch right now if they're starting up a team or expanding a team. I'm sure GMS Racing might even reach out to Kurt Busch at some point. But I mean, what about Trackhouse, Jay? I mean, do you see a potential possibility maybe for a guy like, oh, Bowman just got in the wall, by the way, there. That was quite the big hit right there. Not what he needs to be having. But a little bit of, yeah, good chunk of damage on the right side of that car, who has been running great all race. That could be performance impacting. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. But as I was mentioning, do you see maybe a guy like Noah Gragson having an option to potentially go to a second Trackhouse car?
No, I don't think it would be Gregson going to Trackhouse. I think that if it's not Kurt Busch at Trackhouse, maybe a guy like Eric Jones. There's been some rumors flying around of RPM looking to sell their charter and stuff like that. And I have to think that if they're looking to sell their charter, it's because Eric already has something in line for next season. That team seemed like they were pretty committed to him if Eric wanted to stay committed to them. So I have to think that if they're looking to sell their charter, it's only because Eric has already found a place to go. So I think if it's not Kurt Busch going to Trackhouse, I think it'll wind up being Eric Jones.
Oh, man. 48, by the way. Just got in the wall again there, out of the same corner as last time. Bowman seems to be running into some trouble here in this third and final stage. Maybe just pushing a little bit too hard. He still runs P5, and it still does appear to be, or that car still appears to have some legitimate speed. But, I mean, if he keeps hitting the wall like that, it's not going to end very well, I'm sure, for him, as Keselowski continues to lead the way. I'm not sure what is going to be able to stop Keselowski here today from Pocono, as that car is just on rails from the looks of it here at Pocono now, as Kyle Busch battles it out with that number 5 of Kyle Larson. But what we are going to do now that it's nice and calm, or I mean it's been nice and calm now for well over a stage, we are going to go for a quick break here from Pocono and come back and bring you guys to the end of this race for the first doubleheader race of the weekend from Pocono Raceway. As actually I say that, I just saw the 2 before we go. I just saw the 2 clip the outside wall. That leaves the door open for Denny Hamlin to maybe make a move. Is he going to have anything right there? Now it's Keselowski slides up the track a little bit, so hold on. We'll wait and see if he can remain clear of that 11 of Denny Hamlin. Now, as Jay, we're seeing a couple guys actually start hitting that outside wall. What's that? Maybe, I mean, is that the tire wear potentially causing an issue for these guys, or are they just downright making these mistakes?
I think it's possible that they made some adjustments and it's making their car drive differently in turn 2 than they were expecting, or than what it was happening earlier in the race, and they wind up hitting the wall just because they can't turn. So maybe these guys made their cars a little bit too tight, and in turn 2 they're not able to get their car to turn, and they wind up slapping the wall.
Looks like they all do get settled out, though. Blaney does get up to second place past Denny Hamlin. We'll see what happens right here with Keselowski. Did not hit the wall that time and now continues to hold on to the lead. So we're going to go for a quick break, like I said, and we'll be back to bring you guys to the finish of this race here from Pocono Raceway. Crash! Caution is out here from Pocono Raceway at the tricky triangle. We are looking like real broadcast right now. We missed the crash during the commercial. We cut in just in time. We're going to get a replay. Wow. We just cleaned out another 4 or 5 cars here. There might be only like 10 cars left running that are competitive here. So we apologize for not having that live, but we're going to get a quick look here at what just happened. Bringing out another caution here from Pocono. 4 wide doesn't always work, and you see why right here. DeBenedetto squeezes Wallace up into the wall, and well, around they go behind. Larson involved, the 22, the one of Kurt Busch as well. But Kyle Larson was running pretty good all day long, but it looks like his winning streak is going to come to a close here. I mean, not a lot of damage on the car, but I mean, definitely didn't have the speed to win in the first place, but definitely looks like his luck comes to an end here today in Pocono.
Yeah, Kyle Larson, certainly by his standards, was kind of having a terrible day. Not the guy, that was expected to win this race, and like he has been for the last actually really for the last month or two. So he wasn't the dominant car for once, and now he's wound up in a crash and probably going to wind up being slow as well. So certainly not the day for Kyle Larson.
So after that, Brad Keselowski still leads. Kyle Busch got up to second place. Daniel Suarez got up to fourth. Benedetto currently runs in P6. Kurt Busch, by the way, is officially out of the race. Looks like Logano, I'm sure, might be out as well. Not 100% sure on that. But now we look at the cars that are in racing condition still here in Pocono. We got Brad Keselowski, Kyle Busch, Ryan Blaney, Daniel Suarez, Denny Hamlin, Mandy Benedetto, Eric Almirola, Chase Elliott. I count 8 cars that are in legitimate racing condition. Oh, we got the 41 and the 48 still as well, actually, who must have come to the pit lane or something. Joey Logano doesn't look so bad, actually, for getting turned head-on into the wall at about 180 mile an hour. But definitely, it's been a very weird race, to say the least, here from Pocono Racer. We're going to go back to another quick break where hopefully we don't miss a crash under caution and bring you guys back to what might be the final restart on the day with less than 20 laps to go. Welcome back here from Pocono for the doubleheader. First race of 2 this weekend here on Saturday. Getting ready to go back green. Keselowski, Jay, has led 62 laps here as we come through to complete 63. He's led every lap here today in Pocono. But now, I mean, do you see him continuing that here for the rest of this race? Or maybe could Kyle Busch come out of nowhere and steal this win from him, do you think?
At this point, I think it's going to wind up being Keselowski. He's looked so strong all day long, and I don't see how he loses this race. Hopefully I'm not jinxing.
We've done that quite a few times this season where we've jinxed a lot of drivers now. Ryan Blaney trying to get past that 3 of Austin Dillon here as it comes through out of turns 1. But as well, while we were out at the break, of course, before we went to that break, we had seen some guys hitting the outside wall and whatnot. That was becoming a bit of an issue, and that continued, by the way, under the break. We actually nearly saw the 11 of Denny Hamlin and Cole Custer crash as you see the 3 car do exactly what we're talking about right there. It's becoming a weird increasing issue as this race goes on. Not sure exactly what it's about, but hopefully that does not lead to any catastrophic incidents. There's Benedetto is going to get stuck behind that 3 car of Austin Dillon now, so not what he needs to be having now. So as well, Jay, he's seeing a guy like Daniel Suarez who needs to beat him right in front of him right now. So now the, I guess, final stage that maybe Matt Benedetto was hoping he was going to have.
He's kind of struggled ever since that first pit stop that he took in at the end of stage 1. He hasn't really been able to gain the track position back that he had before. So, he hasn't been able to gain the points that I'm sure he'd want to gain. He hasn't been able to take advantage of Tyler Reddick having those struggles, but he's still running inside the top 10, which is going to be a good finish for him. And I have to think that'll put him above Tyler Reddick at the end of this race. So it will be Tyler Reddick on the cut line.
And there you see Benedetto trying to make a move now up the inside of the 3 of Austin Dillon as they go down into turns 3. It looks like it's going to be an easy pass for him there. I think everybody that goes on the inside is going to be able to make an easy pass as they go down this front straightaway. Still 3 wide there between the 10 as well as the 41 and the 23. But up front it's all single file. Now is Kyle Busch with 15 laps to go. I mean, I guess he's got 15 chances to try and make a move on that number 2 car of Keselowski. But look at this just cluster of cars right here. That is just waiting for another incident to happen. As long as they don't end up 4 wide, I guess, at the end of one of these straightaways, they should be okay now. But we're going to see how they kind of get through this tunnel turn. This is always a sketchy part of the track to even go 2 wide through, and then when they go to the 3 wide, it's a whole different ball game now as the 3 car once again gets in that outside wall, but thank goodness they keep it going in the right direction. But Keselowski continues to lead now here. As I mean, Jay, I don't even know what the 18 can do. I guess this is almost, as we mentioned earlier, kind of mimics the real package where you kind of get to the leader, but you really can't do anything with them after you've gotten to them.
Yeah, I think that he could do something if it wasn't Blaney right behind him. Ryan Blaney being Keselowski's teammate and knowing that Keselowski needs a teammate, I'm sure is not going to offer any kind of help to Kyle Busch. So I think he's going to have to hope that Denny Hamlin is able to get around Blaney, and then maybe they can try something together. But at the moment, he's certainly not going to have any help from behind.
A little bit surprised as well, by the way, of the 48 of Alex Bowman has actually drifted outside of the top 10 now here on lap 67. He's been strong all day, ran up in the top 2 for the over half the race, and now here in this final stage when it matters the most, he has drifted down the order. That 3 car continues to hit the wall. Very fortunate that he has not caused an incident as of yet. As they go down into turn 3 wide, 2 lanes deep as well here, as Bowman tries to work his way forwards and past that 10 as well of Eric Almirola. As you see, Joey Logano having a nice rebound there after being just taken out a handful of minutes ago now as Bowman goes all the way to the inside. Kyle Busch trying to make a move here, but you're going to see once again that second lane just continues to prevail there on the exit and the center of those corners. So Denny Hamlin having a strong run. Daniel Suarez, Jay, kind of came out of nowhere. He hasn't really been top 10 all day, and here he is now running top 5. So he's another guy who's doing exactly what he needs to be doing at the end of this race, and that's going to put him even already, of course, with Reddick having the issue, we knew he was going to be close, but now he's going to be right around that cut line, I'm sure, with a chance to maybe point his way in the next race.
Yeah, he's certainly going to be gaining a lot of points here on Tyler Reddick and be in a fantastic position to get back into the playoffs with the next Pocono race. So he's certainly taken advantage of everything that's gone on, and he's had a good weekend, or a good start to the weekend. And if he's able to finish where he's running right now, I think they have to consider that almost a victory. And then going to tomorrow, he'll be able to continue that as well and hopefully get himself ahead of Tyler Reddick and into the playoffs.
3 wide there for a moment for the lead. Nothing really comes out of it. Kyle Busch, that's the furthest up alongside of Keselowski I think he has been, though. But is it going to be enough? They're going to go down into that tunnel turn. And I mean, if Kyle's not clear in the tunnel turn, then his chances are extremely slim of making that pass for the lead. And you see that right there. Keselowski just about gets into that outside wall, keeps it out. So he's going to carry that full momentum down the straightaway and stay clear as it goes down into turn 3. But we got 5 cars under a blanket right here. 2 Joe Gibbs cars, 2 Penske cars, and then Daniel Suarez from Trackhouse. Then we go back here to Matt DiBenedetto, Bubba Wallace, Chase Elliott. And I have to go all the way down here to find Alex Bowman, who runs in that 13th position. Still, nonetheless, a good day it was for Alex Bowman. He's going to gain some points, but he's probably given up about 10 potentially crucial points here in this final stage if he would have continued to run about 2nd place. Now, it was actually Ryan Blaney. I don't know how he did it, but he found a way to get to the outside of Kyle Busch now, and he might be able to get past. Sure enough, he does, and Kyle's going to try to get to the outside, but Hamlin's going to be there now, and I mean, honestly, Jay, that kind of makes me think that maybe if Blaney can find a way to the outside of the 2 car of Keselowski, or anyone for that matter, that might be their way of maybe beating him.
Yeah, that outside has certainly been strong all day long, but I don't think we're going to see the leader give up that outside lane. If there's any kind of pressure or challenge from behind, Keselowski's just going to automatically ride himself in the outside lane and make people pass him on the inside. And I think that's the smartest move at the moment because at least in turn 1, that outside groove there, it seems to be extremely strong.
And there you see Hamlin looking to the inside, and actually, that you can see how strong that draft is because Hamlin pulls out, and that allowed Kyle Busch to go to his outside just like that right there. And then I'm sure out of turns 1 here, Kyle will take 3rd place back. So it's all about if Keselowski moves out of line, and that's going to be anyone's chance to attack on it, but I don't see why on earth Keselowski, of course, would try to do that now. As Kyle's even going to try and look up the inside of the number 12 here through the tunnel turn. Just 10 laps to go, by the way, from Pocono Raceway. And now Kyle is potentially in trouble. No, Hamlin's going to pull back to the inside, so that allows Kyle to stay clear as they go down into turn 3. But not looking like anybody is going to be able to pass Brad Keselowski here today in Pocono. And I mean, Jay, that kind of makes us look at tomorrow, and I think we're realizing how important clean air is going to be and how important qualifying is going to be. So I think honestly, you can look at whoever qualifies on pole tomorrow to be the immediate favorite of the race.
Yeah, I think you have to think, or you have to look at these crew chiefs are certainly thinking now that qualifying trim is going to matter a lot more than I thought it would. It certainly puts a huge amount on qualifying, so I have to think these teams are probably going to focus on that a bit more going into tomorrow's race and tomorrow's qualifying. We may wind up seeing somebody really charged for the pole, and you just hope they can wind up staying, in that, or wind up staying in the lead, and hope that no matter what their setup is, that Clean Air will be able to keep them in the lead.
Blaney getting closer and closer here. One win on the season so far. It came at Darlington, where he dominated the race. Got passed by Kevin Harvick very late, but then actually repassed Harvick on the very last lap of the race to retake the lead and the win. Also lost the race at Phoenix in a photo finish to his teammate Joey Logano. And right now, Brad Keselowski, the only Penske driver, full-time Penske driver, without a win on the season. I mean, Jay, if you're Ryan Blaney, do you try and go for this win here? Or do you try and assist your teammate Keselowski to the win? Of course, he's gained a ton of points nonetheless today, no matter what happens at this point. But of course, a win will lock him into the playoffs now. So what do? Do you help him, or do you try and go for the win for yourself?
I think you have to try and help him. I mean, Kozlowski doesn't have a win at the moment. Blaney does. And Blaney's got those two Joe Gibbs guys behind him who I'm sure would love to work together and get themselves around these two Penske guys. So I think Blaney is just going to try and work for his teammate here and kind of block and try and keep those Joe Gibbs guys behind him, because if Blaney tries to go for a move, I'm sure Hamlin and Kyle Busch are going to try and follow right through and maybe make something happen as well. So I think Blaney's just going to try and sit here and play protector.
And now just 7 laps to go here from Pocono. Blaney makes that move up the inside. That could be an opportunity right there for Denny Hamlin in a few moments' time to maybe get close enough. He's not actually going to be close enough, so Blaney will be able to hang on to second place. Daniel Suarez starting to kind of lose contact with this main group of 4 cars now. As in the back, you got these 3 drivers working together of Matt DiBenedetto, Chase Elliott, and Bubba Wallace. And what an interesting race it has been. I mean, of course, Jay, we just saw the 21, the 23 crash together 10-15 minutes ago, and here they are now battling up towards the top 5. That just goes to show, of course, what has happened here today with the massive crash early on. But I mean, this has got to make you think as well towards tomorrow, Jay. I mean, if we have another big crash tomorrow, that opens the door wide open again for another huge point swing. I mean, do you think we're going to see something like that happen again tomorrow?
I don't know. With the way that these guys race, I certainly think that it's a possibility that it could happen again. And I think that if you are not locked in on point, or if you're not locked in with a win at the moment, I think if you're anywhere around the playoff picture on points, I think that makes you extremely scared for tomorrow, because as we saw, over half the field got involved in that, and there was several guys around the cutoff line that got involved and now have their races affected by it and ended by it. So if somebody like Reddick is again involved in another crash tomorrow and winds up having a bad finish, that'll spell immediate disaster for him. If somebody like DiBenedetto or really, I mean, honestly, anybody around this cutoff line is involved in a wreck like that, that's going to hurt them massively in points, no matter how well they did today. So I think that's going to be on these teams' minds as they go into tomorrow. And we may see them drive a little bit cleaner than we did today. Maybe not be more aggressive, or maybe not be so aggressive. But I still think we're probably going to see the possibility of that happening again tomorrow. These guys are going to be aggressive. We're going to see 3 wide, and even if it's only 4 or 5 guys not being so aggressive, the rest of the field will be. So highly possible another wreck like this happens again tomorrow.
And just 5 laps to go here in this first race of this doubleheader weekend. Hamlin, once again, is there in position, but I don't think he's going to be able to do anything right there. I mean, he looks to the right-hand side, but of course, nothing really to go off of right there. He actually kind of hurt himself through that tunnel turn. So I don't know how anyone's going to be able to just pull a pass off here on that 2 car. Keselowski doesn't look like it's going to happen, as Blaney might be falling off a little bit. Kyle Busch, sorry, trying to make a move on him now as they come through out of turns 3 down this front straightaway. It'll be 4 laps to go as they cross the line. Hamlin right here, they make the mistake. Second place makes this continuous mistake of trying to make a move to the inside into turns 1, exactly like that right there. And then it just doesn't work each and every single time as they come through out of turns. It doesn't even seem like the draft helps you much if you got a car pushing. So it's a little bit frustrating almost here to see that, because honestly, Jay, I'm pretty confident the two car doesn't have the best car here today. But I mean, no one can just get past kind of that air cushion, yeah, I guess you could call it, or the air wall.
Yeah, I don't think he necessarily has the best car either, but I don't think he has that terrible of a car because there's been times where these guys have gotten separated and he's still been able to drive away. So I think that certainly while clean air is an advantage, he definitely does have one of the better car. He definitely does have one of the better cars here. And I think that if you look at the fastest laps, I don't know if he's gotten any better than 21st, but I think the only reason he's probably that far down is because he hasn't had draft this entire race. He's been out front the entire time. So that's probably why he, technically in fastest lap, he doesn't have that great of a one.
So just 3 laps to go. Kyle Busch side by side with Ryan Blaney. You saw there on that pass lap, the 41 actually got into the wall pretty good. They all kept it green. At this point, we were thinking about doing our little overtime thing. We're going to actually implement that hopefully next week. So if a caution does come out at this point, the race will be over. But I doubt we are going to get a caution here at this point now. But never say never, I guess, here. As they come through to the final 2 laps of this race. So Denny Hamlin is going to have to make a move very quick. Not looking like he's going to be able to make that move to win this race. But you never know. He might make a move and then he could come together with a 2-car, maybe a little bit of a slip up. So still some potential for something to happen right here as they come through the cross line. 2 laps to go from Pocono Raceway as Blaney's going to make a move up the inside, actually tucked back in behind that FedEx Toyota Camry there of Denny Hamlin, as Kyle Busch is going to take the opportunity, make that move up the inside there and try to get 3rd place away from Ryan Blaney. Now, Jay, you look up ahead here. There is a couple of slow cars, but I don't know if they're going to catch them before this race comes to a close, maybe?
I don't think they'll catch them. I think they have a decent enough pace, actually. Maybe
Oh,
not if that happens.
oh my goodness, the caution's going to come out with 2 laps to go, I think. Is the caution lights on? The race is over. This is the final lap right here. Oh my goodness. Wrecking for last, as they like to say, out of the final turn. I think, by the way, Jay, they were going to catch him on the final lap, and that would have created a whole new element, but there it is. That was the race for the win right there. Caution comes out, and Brad Keselowski is going to win under caution. And just like that, we're like, man, imagine if we had the overtime rules in for this week. But wow, of course, that is NR 2003, like peak NR 2003, of course. What a race it was here in Pocono. And Jay, I mean, what are they doing in the back there?
I have no idea. I don't know. I think Gregson just wound up doing what everybody else has done this entire last stage, is just wound up hitting the wall and came right across. I think that was the 62, or not the 62, sorry, the 96. I think he just came across the 96's nose and got himself dumped. So that was kind of a bonehead move there to unfortunately affect the race like that. But I mean, like you said, if only we had our overtime rules, then we could have done it this week. I don't think either one of us expected to actually need an overtime caution here
No.
for Pocono.
Keselowski still has to come around one more corner and get to the line here. We are still on the final lap. You never know. He might come into the pit lane for some reason, and Hamlin stays out and he wins the race. But looks like right now it's pretty safe that Keselowski will pick up the victory. I was hoping it was going to stay green there. It looked like they were running them down. I was like, this is going to actually really spice it up, and Keselowski could end up losing the race on the last lap here. But nope, out of turns 3. Brad Keselowski led every single lap here today from Pocono, and as he comes through down the front straight away, he will sure enough win himself now into the playoffs. I mean, he was already in on points, of course, but now he is locked in, and now that means we'll have just 1, 2, 3, 4 positions. 4 positions remain on points here in the playoffs after the first Pocono double header. What a race it was. Of course, I'll calculate the points after and get those up for you guys to see, because we're sure it's going to be a lot closer now. But I mean, Jay, what a race it was here in Pocono in terms of just the absolute insanity in stage 1, another crash late in stage 3, and then of course just a very uncalled for and unfortunate incident to end the race.
Yeah, it was certainly a much different race than I was expecting. Honestly, I mean, I think that it's much different than anybody would be expecting. I don't think we'd want to see the half of the field retired before the end of stage 1. So that was certainly something. You know, I don't know what to say about it other than calamity and mistakes and wrecks and yeah, an unfortunate ending there. But I don't think there's any way that Keselowski gets past. Actually, never mind. I forgot they were catching lap cars, so maybe he did get past if they had to run into a lap car.
But we'll never know now, of course. But overall, yeah, I mean, it actually makes me actually a little bit excited for the second Pocono race, just to see what happens over there. But as always, if you guys enjoyed, you do know what to do. So, of course, coming the following day on Sunday, we will have the second Pocono race. We'll probably add about 10 extra laps like they are on the real life race, so it should be 90 laps or so, right around there at least. And then we go road course racing next week at Road America. So excited for that as well. But if you guys enjoyed, you know what to do. We'd like to thank you all for taking the time out of your day to watch this episode and other ones on the channel. And we will see you guys in the next one tomorrow for Pocono Raceway, the second race of the doubleheader. Have a great day, everybody.